Hi, I am Dr. Laura Wiedenhop, and this webinar will give an overview of the initial application and guidance on how to complete that document. This webinar was recorded in December 2018. We will make small changes from time to time, so while the real pages you work with may be a little different than what I show here, the general process should be the same or very similar. We will do new webinars when there are substantive changes. Now, this document is for schools seeking initial certification to operate in the state of Missouri only. If you are a currently certified school, a school seeking initial certification to recruit students, or if you are seeking exemption, this is not the webinar you're looking for. To get started, I want you to head to the EDvera sign-in page, and you can find that by going to the DHE website. We're at dhe.mo.gov/PSC, stands for Proprietary School Certification. You're going to click on this link that says Interested in Starting a New School, and it'll take you to our EDvera page. And here you'll see we have a user manual for schools seeking initial certification. It's going to walk you through pretty much everything that I'm doing here. And then it takes you to the EDvera sign-in page. Now, on the bottom right hand of the screen of the EDvera sign-in page is a blue support button. Enter your first and last name, enter your email address, enter the proposed name of your school, and then enter a little bit of information about what programs the school intends to offer. And this is just so we can verify that you are asking for the right application. You would just click Send. The EDvera Help Desk, which is usually me, will get back with you with a temporary password. Once you receive that, you will come back to this login page and log in with your email and your temporary password. Once you sign in, you should be prompted to change the password to one of your own choosing. If not, once you log in, your name will be up here in the upper right-hand corner, and you will just follow the links to change the password. Now, if you ever forget your password, you can, from the EDvera login screen, just click on Forgot Your Password or click the blue support button for assistance. So once you've logged in, you will see the school's dashboard. At the top are 3 tabs: Dashboard, Documents, and Approvals. Missouri does not use the Approvals button, so you can ignore that. Click on the Documents tab. And just a note for those who are wondering, whenever the department gives a document final approval, it will go into the document archive. But right now we are defaulted to go to the In Progress tab. So on the right-hand side of this page, you'll see a Start Document button. You want to click that. Scroll down and click on Initial Application. What you'll do is you'll read each of these 4 general information items. Make sure you understand them. Here is a link to the regulations of proprietary schools. This information is also available from our website. And when you go into dhe.mo.gov/PSC on the right-hand side, you'll see regulations. It's the same link right here, and we also have links to our statutes. So once you've read these 4, you'll click the checkbox to attest that you understand all that information, and then you will click Continue. Now, all the documents that you work with in EDvera will have a very similar setup. For this particular document, it's submission, review, comments, status, history, and then another tab called Actions will appear when it's the school's turn to take some action on a document other than submitting it. And the Submission tab is a tab under which you will do most of the actual work of entering any data. The Review tab is where you can look at the complete document from start to finish without having to tab through sections. You can only review, though. The data entry and revisions have to be made in the Submissions tab. The Comments tab is where you can provide additional information. This is also where the department will identify particular errors in the document and specify what the school must do to correct the issue. If you have an issue that requires the attachment of a document that you wouldn't include someplace else, you can click here and just upload that document from your computer. Make sure you click Add Comment. Now let's look at the Status tab. Right now it says Unsubmitted. If you click on it, you'll see that this is the flow chart that EDvera uses to move the document through the varying states. Anything in green means that the school has to take some action. For example, we haven't submitted the document yet, so it's still green, unsubmitted. And while the document is in a green status, we can see that you're working on something, but we can't actually do anything about it until you push it to the next phase. If I tell you to push the button, that's what you'll have to do. Now, when an item is yellow, that indicates the document is in the department's control. And you as a school user, you'll still be able to go into the comments section and interact with us when it's in that state, but you won't be able to make any changes to the document until we turn it back over to the school. For example, once we submit the initial application, it goes to pending payment. And it will stay here until we receive the initial application fee of $200. So once it pops up here, our staff will take a brief look at what you've submitted, and then we will send you a note in either comments, or we will send you an email advising you that now it's time to pay the initial application fee. Once we receive that fee, our staff will push it through to the next phase, which is the review phase, and then that is when I will begin the review. If there are any problems with the document, then we will revert it to you for correction. And most needed corrective items will actually be identified in the Comments tab. If you have a whole laundry list, we might send you an official letter to kind of specify exactly what it is that needs fixing. And this last one, History tab, just what it says, it's a history of the life of the document. Once you submit it, you'll be able to click on History and you'll see it here. You'll click a little button and it'll pop up a PDF of exactly what you just sent. The system will also identify the time and date any changes were made, as well as who made them. So back to submission. The initial application document itself is broken down into 5 tabs: Institution Information, Personnel, Programs, Exhibits, and Financials. Within the application areas, you may be directed to complete an additional document, and we'll see those down here. When you do those, they're considered child documents. Like your initial application is the parent, and anything you submit or start under this application is the child. It just helps us kind of link the two together. You'll be able to go to our website. Let's go back here, proprietary, and starting a new school. Scroll down just a little bit. These web shorts, if you want to look up a particular document, then you can go, for new accreditation. This just focuses on how to complete the new accreditation application document, how to complete the new instructor document, that kind of thing. Now the first section here asks for general information about the school: phone, fax, web, mailing address. If any of this, we should have a mailing address, but if any of this other information is not available, you can put NA. Just go ahead and do that. NA, or you can put zeros. You just can't leave those blank, because if you do, when you try to submit it, the system will say, no, you can't leave them blank. You have to put something in there. On this in-state, since you are a school operating in the state of Missouri, you will check that box. Down here under Planned Instructional Start Date, you will enter your planned instructional start date. And please understand that this date should be several months in the future, as the review of applications is typically done by one person. That's yours truly. And I have to balance new school reviews with all my other job duties. Now, in general, the more complete and accurate the information in your application, the faster the review will go. Once you've done this, I'm going to leave this blank just for now, just so you'll be able to see an error when it pops up at the end. Scroll down to the bottom and click Save. And that way, I'm going to tell you to do that constantly throughout this whole process. That way, it will save any data that you've entered. In case you have to exit the system or you get kicked out for any reason, it'll still be in there. The next section here is Contacts. The institutional contact and the chief administrator role are already entered. There should be your contact information there. If you are the chief administrator, which means you are the one that is going to complete all the documents, then just leave this alone, because the chief administrator has access to everything, including financials. The institutional contact person has access to everything except for financials. So that is a decision that the school needs to make. Like I said, if you're the chief administrator, leave this alone. If maybe you're not going to be the chief administrator, then you would need to have this person come in and contact the department through the little blue support button. Let me go over here. And have them add a chief administrator person to the system. Because if you change it here, you're going to get kicked out of the system because you will no longer be the chief admin. So don't change that if at all possible. If you do need to change maybe the institutional contact role, you can click this little plus bar. You will just enter the email address. So let's say webinar at webinar.edu. Whoops. Actually, there we go. Email address of whoever is going to be the institutional contact. Click Next. And first and last names. Click Save. We'll come down here and we'll see that the contact is now this person, and you are still the chief administrator. And you can always go back and change if you need to, but remember, don't change this one unless you have to. So let's go ahead and scroll to the bottom and save, just in case. This next section is under ownership. And this seems pretty straightforward. How is your school structured? Are you a sole owner? Are you a partner? Are you a corporation? Are you an LLC? Just pick one of those. What is your legal business name? Where was the school incorporated? Upload the articles of incorporation that you should have received from the Secretary of State's office. And if maybe your legal business name is Webinars Inc., but your fictitious name is Webinar School of Webinars, you should have a document from the Secretary of State's office, and you would upload that right there. And finally here, you will indicate whether the school is operating as a for-profit or nonprofit. Just pick one. If you are a nonprofit, make sure you update your information for your 501c3 or whatever it may be. Let's go ahead and do that. Let me go ahead and fill Webinar Inc. Okay, so we're going to go down here and save. Now, if this were a partnership, then you would add the additional owner. So, okay, next section is levels of study. Is your school going to be offering degrees, non-degrees, or both? And I can tell you that 99% of new school applications are unaccredited, non-degree granting or certificate granting schools. Now, if you want to offer a degree program, but you're not currently accredited, that's fine. Know that you will need to undergo and pay for a site visit as well as program evaluations from outside experts. You can do it, but realize it will take additional time and money as you will need to start the accreditation process ASAP. And this question is asking if the school is a branch of a school operating outside of the state of Missouri, yes or no. If yes, you'll just put in the name, location, and attach the state authorization information for that school. Scroll to the bottom, click Save. So the next section is asking about any accreditation the school may currently have. Accreditation is from an organization recognized by the U.S. Department of Education. I want you to just ignore the accreditation change document here, and if you are accredited, you would complete the new accreditation application. This is one of those child documents I mentioned earlier, and there is a specific web short on how to complete this document on our website. So let's go new accreditation, and there it is right there. And this last section is asking about locations. Ignore these for now. They are being worked on by Sienna, and once these are changed, we will let everybody know so that any other new schools will be able to complete those appropriately. Finally, click the checkbox to attest that the school has an appropriate ownership structure for the programs, and then click Save and proceed to the next section. Now this tab is Personnel, and these two small tables, they're asking basically the same question, but this one is asking for the number of full-time administrators and full-time instructors, part-time administrators, and part-time instructors. This one would be as of the date at initial startup, and this one would be after 6 months. We're looking at your understanding of the growth potential of your school. And one thing I do need you to know, whenever you're entering this information, if a person acts as both an administrator and a faculty member, they would be listed as part-time in each, even though it's way more than a full-time job. But this is just for data purposes, so we can kind of keep things straight. And you would need to enter a number in each of these areas, even if it's 0. So we'll say 0 here, 0, whoops, we want a negative number and 2 people there. So again, this is as of the date of submission, basically, and this is 6 months after you've been operating for a while. Once you've done that, scroll down, click Save. This next section is where you identify the school's key administrators. Now there are 7. They are the president or the owner, the campus director, the chief academic officer, the finance officer, the data coordinator, state licensing liaison, and the student financial assistance officer. Now most errors in this section are schools that are missing a key administrator, or if they have more than one person in the same key function. So just some things to keep in mind. The school's finance officer is the one who monitors the school's bills, while the student financial assistance officer is the one who monitors the students' bills and provides them with information on financial aid. This document right here, the new administrative personnel, when you click on it, it will open in a new tab. And again, you'll be able to look in here, new administrative personnel for webinar just on that document. Once you complete it and you submit it, you'll come back here, you go to the bottom, you'll hit Save, and you can scroll and you will see that that new administrative personnel document will be here, and it will say pending review or something like that. So that way you know it's in the system and it's waiting for department approval. You will need to complete a new administrative personnel document for each individual who holds one or more of the key functions. Again, all key functions may only be filled by one person, but the same person can be responsible for more than one. And that's usually the case if you have a small school, owner-operator, their administrator, their faculty, they are everything. So it's not a big deal if one person does all of those. The next segment is for instructional personnel. And as you know, if you're an accredited institution, we have a little template here. Just give us a list of the instructors. You actually don't have to, but it's just nice to have. So if you're feeling generous, go ahead and fill out that template. For unaccredited institutions, you do have to complete a new instructor document for each faculty member. The school will identify the courses that each instructor will teach, and you'll have to upload resumes and copies of appropriate license, certifications, or transcripts to verify that the instructor is actually qualified to teach others. And again, there is a specific webinar for new instructors. So after entering all your instructors, you'll scroll down, review these attestations, click the check boxes, and then click Save and proceed to the next section. This third tab in the initial application is for programs. You'll click these check boxes to state that the programs are appropriate for a post-secondary institution. Scroll, click Save. Now for each program the school intends to offer, you will complete a new program application document. Now, although this document, once you submit it, it will go into a pending payment status, there is no additional cost for programs for an initial applicant school. MDHE staff will actually go in and push the document through to the review stage. You don't have to do anything on that. Once all of your programs are submitted, you'll go down and click Save and proceed to the next section. Section 4 is Exhibits. First thing is to click this checkbox to attest the school will maintain an appropriate Exhibit 1. Exhibit 1 is the school's catalog, handbook, web pages, whatever documents that include all required information disclosures as outlined in this ginormous checklist. Now, it is fairly long because it encompasses all of the school's policies on things like admissions and graduation, conduct, grievances, all that stuff. It also includes information about what needs to be included about the program and its various components. I suggest that you take a look at other certified school catalogs or look at catalogs of schools like University of Missouri or SLU, because whether it's taxidermy to teaching to nursing, whatever, catalogs are usually put together in pretty much the same way. Figure out what works for your school and put your Exhibit 1 together. Now, the document directs you to upload the publications. And there may be more than one if your disclosures are spread among different documents. It's not uncommon for a school to submit a catalog, a student handbook, and maybe a brochure, whatever it is that your school has. Now, if your school's documents are web-based, and we do have a school where all of their materials are just online, you would just take screenshots and you would upload those, so long as they correspond with the different information disclosures. Do not give us a web link, though, because web pages, they change constantly, and your Exhibit 1 needs to reflect your school as of the date of submission. Now, when I review this exhibit, I will first review all the items that you've uploaded and just try to determine in my head where all the required information is. If I can't find something that needs to be in there, that's when I'll go to this checklist and to see where you tell me the information is located. You can leave these page numbers blank, that's fine if you want, but if I can't find something, I'm going to revert your document and say whatever could not be found. Once you've entered that, you'll scroll down and you'll click Save. Now when you scroll down, you'll come across the other exhibit documents. Exhibit 2 is the enrollment agreement or the contract between the student and the school. The agreement must contain certain information disclosures, and they are all identified right here. If you don't have these on your enrollment agreement, it will be reverted, and you'll need to revise it until it is correct and meets certification standards. We'll use the same process as in Exhibit 1 to upload your document. And note that we do want you to fill out the enrollment agreement completely, as if Jane Doe is being admitted to a program at your school. No blanks, include all signatures. So once you have Exhibit 2 entered, again, you'll go all the way down to the bottom and click Save. Exhibit 3 is the school transcript, and yes, you do have to provide students with a transcript no matter what type of school you are. Use the exact same process as for the other two. And again, make sure you submit a complete sample transcript, including required signature. We want to see what you are going to be giving to students when they graduate or withdraw from your school. Scroll to the bottom, click Save. This last section is under Attachments. Item 1 requires the school to either identify or upload a listing of all current equipment owned and available for use by enrolled students for each of your programs. If the equipment will be used as an asset item in the financial statement of resources, and you can check out the web short for how to complete that document, you must also include the current market value of the item, the market value, not what you paid for it. Depreciation is a booger. So item 2 requests the school identify what equipment it will purchase in the future, along with a proposed schedule. Again, we are looking at how you expect the school to grow in the first year of operation. For item 3, we are asking you to upload a description of the instructional location along with a floor plan. Now this, if you do not have your location secure just yet, that's fine. You can just put to be determined. The school, however, will be required to complete that information before we would give you a certificate of approval to operate. You'll have to do that before you can go to the security deposit phase anyway. But for just submitting this document and getting through the Exhibits 1, 2, and 3 reviews, which are usually the longest, you can just put to be determined. Item 4 requests information regarding the need for the program by having the school upload documentation on current job availability for program graduates, along with the entry-level salary estimates in the school's geographic region. We want to see that you have done some homework on what your students are going to face when they graduate. And remember, you are most likely training people for entry-level positions. So if we see claims for graduates earning $60,000 in their first year, you better believe we will be requiring you to provide evidence. Item number 5 is space, and you can also upload a document for any additional information that is not covered anywhere else that you think is important for us to consider when reviewing the whole application. Scroll down, click Save, and proceed to next section. This last tab is the financials. Check out the EDvera web shorts on the financial statement of resources and the financial statement of income and expenditures to learn how to complete those documents. For item 1, this allows the school to show that it has the necessary resources to operate and deliver on its contract with its students. Income and expenses gives the school's best estimate for the first year's revenue and expenses. Basically, how well do you think your school is going to do once it is certified? Item 3, you will upload the school's most recent bank statement. Do not send us a letter from your bank signed by the vice president or something saying that, yes, they have an account. What we care about is what's in. So you need to send us the actual bank statement that you receive in mail or download from your account. Feel free to redact account numbers, that's fine. We just need official documentation. For item 4, if the school has any lines of credit noted on the financial statement of resources, upload those documents here. We had one school that had letters of credit from a local energy company, and it was so much because they were using some sort of gas or something in order to educate their students, and they had a letter of credit for that, so they posted that, and we considered that as part of their financial resources. Same thing on item 5, certificates of deposit. If you have any of those that you are going to dedicate the interest to continuing operation of the school for the first year, you would upload that here. And then item 6 is if the school has any financial statements audited by an independent certified public accountant, you can upload those right there. So once you've done all that, you want to scroll all the way down to the bottom and click Save. We're almost done. So under attestations, there are 4 attestations. We'll want you to read them carefully and click by the check boxes and to say that you agree with each of them. Scroll down and save. And then the last section here is certification standards. Please read and review each of them. You'll want to click the check box by each, and I'm going to leave that blank for now. Don't hit submit, click save. Because once we click submit, what's going to happen is the system will look through each of the tabs, and if anything is missing, then it will throw up an error. And if we haven't saved, then anything that we've checked will disappear. So we're going to click submit. And EDvera is going to tell us that we have 2 errors. So the first one is under institution information, the instructional start date. And the second error is under financials, the 4th review button of the attestation. So what we're going to do first is go to institution information. You can either click on this link right here, or you can click on the tab because you know what it is. So we'll click right there. And it'll take us to this section, our planned instructional start date. Let's say July 1st. Okay. Once you make whatever change or correction that you need to, don't just enter it and then go back. You want to go to the bottom and save. Save it in whatever section you were working on. Back to financials. If you remember the other one, well, let's say I don't remember the other one, so we'll click submit. And you see the institution information error has been resolved. The financials error has not. And that is saying that this last attestation had not been checked. So we're going to check it. Do what? Save. And then we're going to submit. And you'll see up here, document has been saved. The status has changed to pending payment. And if we click on that, see it's yellow, which means it's up to the department to do something. It's out of your hands right now. You've done all that you can do. If you go to your dashboard and then documents, you will also see it listed here in the pending payment status. And this status will change to initial review once we receive your money. We will send you an email specifically requesting payment of the $200 application fee. After receipt of payment, staff will push the button and move this document to the initial review phase. Now, please be aware, it may take several weeks or possibly even months for review to be completed, depending on the number of schools ahead of you in the queue. For example, this is December 31st, and I have about 7 schools pending right now. And we're also getting ready to get into recertification of all of our schools. So the timeliness of this review will also be based on the workload at the department, as well as the complexity and the completeness of the application that you have submitted. So again, we'll want you to check EDvera periodically in order to respond to any requests we have for corrections or additional information. Now, if the department adds a comment that requires the school's attention, we will revert the document back to the school, and that'll put it back in a little green state. We will put information in the comment section saying that the school needs to take some action. So once you see what is needed, you will go back and maybe it will say the personnel is all wonky. So you'll go in and you'll make whatever corrections. You're going to save at the bottom of the screen. And then at this time, there will be an actions button appear. After you have saved, you'll click on the actions button and you'll click submit or resubmit, whatever your document happens to say. Once the information in the initial application has been reviewed and approved, the department will then push the document into a pending security deposit phase. And at this time, we will send you a letter and a form outlining specifically how much your security deposit is. Now, the security deposit is based on the estimated tuition enrollment for the first year of operation. And the deposit can be made via a letter of credit or a CD from your bank, or via a performance surety bond from your insurance company. And we will send you the appropriate forms for each of those. You just look at the options and consider what is best for your school. Whichever of those three is fine. We have different schools. Choose different ones. Once you mail the security deposit to us, we will review. And once that's approved, we will push the document to the pending certification fee stage. And at that point, we will send you a letter asking the school for payment of the $300 certification fee. Once you put that check in the mail, you will go into EDvera documents, open this document, your initial application, and that Actions button will be live here. So you would go to Actions and you would click on the pending certification fee approval. Once you receive the fee, we will assign your school a specific DHE code, and we will mail you a certificate suitable for framing along with the approved program inventory. And the school will then be listed on the MDHE website as a school certified to operate. So once everything is approved, your mailing address information will be here. Your DHE code will show up here. Your programs will be listed here. So what happens then? Well, certificates of approval to operate expire annually on June 30th, and you'll have to go through a recertification process. Now, schools that receive their initial certification between January 1st and late May, early June, they will only be required to pay a $500 recertification fee and to sign a form verifying that the security deposit they provided will remain in place until at least June 30th of next year. Now, schools that are certified late May, mid-June through the end of December will be required to complete the full recertification process using the recertification application. Let's click on it and you'll be able to see it here. Doop. And there is also webinars about how to complete that document. Finally, all schools are required to submit entry and exit data on each student who starts classes with the school through the proprietary student record application. This is a different, secure online site in which the school will identify one or more people to upload and maintain student-specific data. It is not part of the EDvera system, so separate registration by school users is required. Now, the letter that you will receive with your new certificate of approval will contain information on how to register for that process. Well, thank you so much for reviewing our webinar on how to complete the initial application. If you have any questions about the document or about the initial process, please give us a call at 573-751-2361 and ask for Laura. Or, as always, you can always go to the blue support button in EDvera and ask the help desk. Thank you. Bye-bye.